I am the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So, for today's lore, a Orc patrol and a Necron patrol have run into each other in a small city area. So, I've put the Orcs up against Drakari, and the Orcs won. I put Orcs up against Chaos, and the Orcs won. So, we're going to put Orcs up against Necrons today, and hopefully the Orcs will not win. So I recreated the first starter box that I ever bought, the Annihilation Barge, Catacomb Command Barge, Necron starter box. So we got an Overlord with a Resorb and a War Scythe, a Lord with a Resurrection Orb and a Staff of Light, I think, 3 Scarabs, 10 Necron Warriors with the original Gauss players, 5 Necron Immortals with Tesla Carbines, an Annihilation Barge with a Gauss Cannon and the Twin Tesla Destructor, and then I added in the Hexmark Destroyer. He wasn't in the original box. This Overlord, Lord, Immortals, and Annihilation Barge actually are the original units from the original box. These could be anything. But there's that. And then the Orc Combat Patrol, which is the War Boss and Mega Armor. 2 groups of 10 boys. One with a rocket launcher and one with a big shooter. 3 Death Copters. A Death Dread. I finally got the Scorches on there, but I'm still painting on the 2 Dread Claws, but we'll pretend they're still there. And then we added in the Commandos. So yeah, I'm hopeful that the Orcs will finally meet their demise today. And yeah, so I'll set up deployment and we'll start the fun on this one. Okay, so the Orcs chose this side. So we've got the rocket launcher boys there. So the big shooter boys there with the Death Copters, and the Death Dread and Mega War Boss back here. The Commandos kind of, set up a little closer because of that within, greater than 9 inches thing, so that's where they are. So the Immortals took the high ground here with the Overlord and the Hexmark Destroyer down here. Scarabs on the street between. The Warriors and the Lord on this bottom floor with the Annihilation Barge and the street. So, yeah, that will put it up to the Orcs' turn, so we'll go into Orcs movement. So for the Orcs, everything pretty much just advanced forward as far as it could, trying to stay kind of in cover. Not everybody was able to do so. But really in the end, these Scarabs can only see these Orcs right here. And that Annihilation Barge can only see this Death Dread. None of the Orcs are in range to shoot anything. Everybody is well out of range to charge, so that'll take us on to Necron turn 1 movement. So for the Necrons, pretty much everything also moved up. The Hexmark came out of the building and around the side. The Scarabs moved up to charge into these guys, hopefully. The Warriors and the Lord came out. The Lord did the thing on these guys that lets them reroll ones. Lord's Will, I think it is. The Annihilation Barge moved up. And these Immortals and the Overlord have given up the high ground and just advanced to get down here to the bottom. No Catan, so there will indeed be a shooting phase, and it's going to be an enjoyable one for me. Because I do love Necron shooting, and yeah, Necrons versus Orcs, it's kind of like fighting the old one, great grandchildren kind of thing. Poetic justice, awesomeness. Yeah, Necron shooting. Well, it wasn't the best Necron shooting, but it wasn't the worst either. The Necron Warriors were able to kill 2 of these commandos. And then the Annihilation Barge, its gauze cannon, actually managed to kill 3 more. And then it put its Tesla into the Depth Dread, but Depth Dread was able to make its save rolls. Sad day. So for charging, these Scarabs are definitely going to charge into these Commandos. So I guess we're going to see what the Bomb Squig does. Well, the Bomb Squig failed to go off, so the Scarabs managed to make it in. They killed 3 of the Commandos, and the Commandos managed to kill 1 of them and do a little bit of damage. So yeah, that was kind of scary. So that will take us on over to the Orks' turn. Turn 2 movement. Okay, so for Orc movement, the remaining Commandos have fallen back. These 2 groups of boys have just moved up. The Depkoppas have come around. God. Someday I'm going to have an actual camera. The Depkoppas have just come around from that little alley over there to flanking this area. I guess it's not flanking. To hugging the wall over here? Yeah. The Warboss has come around the corner, and the Depth Dread has just moved up closer up the street thingy. So that will take us to Orc shooting, and a whole lot of things are a lot closer, so yeah. So this unit of boys with their rocket launcher did a couple points of damage to these Scarabs. This group of boys with their big shooter shot at these guys and didn't do anything. The Depthcopters shot everything they had into the Necron warriors and managed to kill 1 of them. And the Warboss shot at the Annihilation Barge and it managed to save on the wounds. There will in fact be charges here, so these boys are going to charge into these Scarabs. Yeah, that'll probably be it for this particular time. Alright, so yeah, that didn't work out at all, so no Orc fighting this turn, so yeah. We'll go on over to Necron turn 2 movement. Okay, so the Scarabs have moved up a little bit to re-threaten the Commandos. The Overlord back here gave the My Will Be Done the +1 to hit for these Immortals, and the whole group of them just kind of moved up out of the building. And all of these guys are just hanging out, staying there. The Lord did Lord's Ability to these guys. They reroll 1s to hit. And I think that's all we have for Necrons. This Hexmark just moved up. So we'll go into the Necron shooting phase. Okay, that was super crazy. So this Hexmark Destroyer killed 8 of these boys. These Immortals over here killed 7 of these boys. These Necron warriors didn't do anything. The Tesla, the twin Tesla Destructor from the Annihilation Barge killed 1 of the Depthcopters and did a decent amount of damage to another one. And then he put his gauze cannon into the Depth Dread, which didn't do anything at all. So, charge phase, which will once again be these Scarabs into these 2 remaining Commandos. Well, the Scarabs took a point of damage in Overwatch, but then proceeded to eat the Orks. So, yeah, that'll take us to morale. It strikes me as slightly odd that a group that is as warlike as the Orks would even have a need for morale rolls, but be that as it may, these 2 Orks ran away, and 2 of these guys left. So, things aren't looking so great for the Orks right at the moment. It'll be turn 3, Orks turn, movement. So the Depthcopters are just going to hang out there. This last knob just kind of came up out of the building all angry with the intention of going after this Hexmark. The war boss just moved up, and then the Death Druid advanced behind him to get really close. So that'll take us to the Ork shooting phase. So this knob shot at this hex mark and didn't do anything at all. The two remaining Death Copters did 3 damage to the Annihilation Barge. And the war boss tried to shoot at these Necron warriors and didn't land a single one. It was a terrible roll. So for charging, this knob is definitely going to charge this hex mark. I don't know how that's going to go. And he's pretty much the only one that can charge, really, so hopefully he doesn't die. And well, it was definitely a suicidal charge. The hex mark did kill it in Overwatch, so yeah, that'll take us on over to the Necron turn movement. So the only thing that actually moved was the scarabs here, just moving up along the side of the building here, heading towards the depth copters. Everything else is just gonna stay in place and shoot. And we'll roll quite happily into the Necron shooting phase. So for Necron shooting, the Hexmark killed a Depthcopter, and then these Immortals killed the other one. These warriors dumped everything they had into the Depth Dread and did nothing. And the Annihilation Barge dumped everything it had into the Depth Dread and did 3 points of damage to it. Nobody's close enough to charge, so we'll go to Orks turn 4 movement. So the War Boss and the Depth Dread both just moved up their total distance. So we'll go into Orc shooting. So both the War Boss and the Depth Dread dumped everything they had into the Annihilation Barge. The War Boss's Big Shooter did a point of damage, and both of the Scorches on the Depth Dread did a total of 1 point of damage. So they did 2 points between them. And so both of them are going to charge the Annihilation Barge. That was super amazing, actually. So the Annihilation Barge actually was able to destroy the Death Dread in Overwatch, and the War Boss made it in. He survived Overwatch. The War Boss made it in and then completely destroyed it. So yeah, that was awesome. This will probably be the last turn. It's Necron turn. I really don't see any need for any Necrons to move. I'll be really impressed if this guy can survive all of the shots coming his way. So yeah, Necron shooting. I guess this will teach me not to doubt the resiliency of Orks. He took shots from everybody and only took 3 damage total, so craziness. So I guess this Lord is going to charge this War Boss. Well, he managed to make it in and kill the Mega War Boss. So Necrons win this one. So I guess that means really that my girlfriend needs to make some more Drukhari so that there can be a lot more Drukhari to fight against the Orks. And I need to put more Chaos against the Orks since they seem to get stomped by them. And I either need to play with less Necrons against the Orks, or I need to get more Orks to play against the Necrons. Either way, Necrons win, like they tend to always do. If you made it to the video, thank you for watching. I do appreciate it. I've been sick for a couple days, and I haven't really felt like trying to do this kind of thing, so it's good to not be sick and able to do this. You guys all have a good night, and yeah, enjoy.